Hello and welcome everybody to Founders 500 Startup Sessions online. I think this is event number 14. We've gone all UFC and we're numbering all the events. So I think this is number 14 and it's great to have you with us. And I think of the 14, actually, we've only done 2 online. So this is something we're keen to start doing a little bit more of, take the hour online through the day and have some startup learning. Today's session, really looking forward to. We're going to get into that, but it is still a community. So the chat and Q&A is open. So please do jump into the chat. Let us know who you are and where you are. If you're in the UK, it's illegal not to talk about the weather. So yeah, please do let us know if you're in the UK and in this heat wave along with me. But in terms of a couple of quick announcements, and then we'll get today's session with Willem. Session number 15, we are back in person. It's June the 16th in central London. And in that session, we are talking about the people problems that no founders see coming. I was joking with Willem beforehand, but most of the problems you have in startups do originate around people. So that'll be a great one. Catherine and Caldish are presenting that session, both absolutely awesome human beings. I've known Caldish for a long, long time. And Catherine has been supporting the Data Science Festival mentorship program as well. So we're really, really lucky to have them with us. If you're in the UK, in London specifically, do check that out. In terms of today's session, Willem, if I could ask you, please turn on your camera and microphone, and I'll give you a little bit of an intro. But before I intro, how are you doing today? How are you getting on?
I'm doing well, thank you. Like I said to you and everybody else, it's my 4th week of being sick, so if I sound a bit croaky, bear with me.
Yeah, I love the way
Thanks
you're
for
a bit.
having me.
I love the way you're a bit under the weather and you still have more energy than 99% of people I know, which is what it's all about, man, which is great. And it's actually the second time we've had Willem speak for us. And yeah, the first session stuck in my mind. So we're in for a real treat today. And as you can see in front of you, we are talking about the psychology of a successful entrepreneur. Willem's joining us from Joburg. So we've gone international today. And I purposely keep the introduction short. I know Willem's going to tell everyone a little bit more about them, about himself, but Startup Coach of the Year at the African Startup Ecosystem Awards. That's a pretty cool title, mate. That's a pretty cool intro. So thank you very much for being with us. I'm going to have a quick nose at the chat, seeing I did shout it out, didn't I? So it'd be rude not to. But who have we got with us? We've got a few people, haven't we? Let's have a look. So Willem's in the chat. That's what we want. Michael, greetings from sunny Islington. Sunny Islington indeed. Jim, good morning from Mississippi in the USA. Come on, man. I love to see that.
That is
Julianne,
nice.
Cape Town. We have gone full international today. It's all good stuff. Jane's with us. Joel's with us. I can see there's a whole bunch more that are being a little bit shy. So yeah, thank you for being with us. The only extra thing to call out, we have got a Q&A feature as well. So if there's questions, I think we're aiming for sort of 10, 15 minutes of questions at the end as well. So we will go from there. In terms of that, I will stop sharing my holding slide. I'll get you to share yours. And we'll go from there. Taha, it's good to have you with us from sunny Maida Vale. Federico from London, good to see you, Federico. Thank you for being with us. And then we have...
Absolutely. Zambia as well. I love that.
Love this. Love this. We have an audience, man. We have an audience. We have your slides. We have you. If you're good, I'll get out the way and I'll jump back in at the end for the questions. Have a good session.
Let's rock and roll this boat. Let's not play around. Hello, everyone. Nice having you. Thank you for being here and for taking some time. I know everybody's time is precious. Not here to waste it. I'm going to stick to the allocated time. Try to give as much time to question and answers afterwards so we can do that. And please be active in the chat. Submit the Q&A stuff so that I can help you as much as possible. This is here to help you as an entrepreneur. Just in the chat, for interest's sake, tell me where you are in your startup journey. I'd love to hear that. It's just a short thing. I have a business, 2 years or so long, or I don't have one. I'm thinking of starting a business. I have a business. It's not going all that well. And that's normal if you say that. Idea validation, customer development. Thanks, Joel. I appreciate that. Anybody else? Just let me know a little bit. 20 years, I look younger, I know. Okay, cool. Believe everything your wife tells you, David. Okay, 4 months in. Impressive. Mic drop for you. 120 days. How's it going with your 4 months in? It's a bit hectic to start. Investing in startups. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm more in the let's fix the person. One or two else. I see we have enough people in here. Where are you currently in your startup business? 3 years old, beginning to look at scaling this year. Julianne, that's a very difficult one because I think the next session with the people problem, you definitely want to attend that one, but also look at you as a leader and how you need to develop teaching entrepreneurship in high school or want to start a side hustle. Jim, excellent, lovely, you're in the right place. Good. So today is going to be a bit different. Most training focuses on business plans, finances, and marketing. The session is different. After this session, you will know how you need to change as a person to become a successful entrepreneur. Because you will learn that the success of your business has very little to do with the market, the business, or your business idea. I mean, if I cough, I have 5 business ideas. Business ideas are cheap. Execution is king. And you do the execution. You do not work... you do not have to work on the business. You have to work on the person who works on the business. And one thing that I stand by, being an entrepreneur for 26 years, developing entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship is 10% business, 90% personal development. If your results is not working your business, trace it back to your thinking, not your business. Your business is merely a manifestation of your thinking. If your business is stinking, it's because of stinking thinking. And that's what we're going to deal with today is how do we shift your thinking? A little bit about myself. I'm an international professional speaker, author. I've written 3 books on entrepreneurship. I'm the Startup Coach of the Year 2025 for Africa, was Startup Mentor of the Year 23. I'm a top 50 thought leader on lean startup and careers. And the first thing I usually say when I get on stage is we should stop teaching people lean startup, especially in Africa and other developing economies. I'm an entrepreneur for 26 years. And I have a company called The Human Entrepreneur. So I take this pretty face into a slum-like environment. Those from South Africa are familiar with it, a township. And I get an unemployed person to start a profitable business in 5 weeks without external funding, simply by changing how they think. So the slogan for my nonprofit is, we don't teach people to fish, we make fishermen. Because there's enough of these sessions and trainings and everything out there to show you what to do. But if you look at how many people are fishing out there, not a lot of people are damn fishing. They're just sitting there. And then for fun and giggles, I am a firewalking instructor. Just pop in the chat, yes or why or N. Have you ever firewalked before? Why for yes, have you ever firewalked before? So I make a nice 600, 700 degrees centigrade, red hot coal fire of 8 meters long, and I get you to walk barefoot over that puppy. Has anyone walked on fire before? Just pop in the chat, Y or N. Never before, would love. Yes, it is the bomb. I've done it a few hundred times. There is once in India. No. Okay, cool. So a lot of the time, I ask people, why do I do that? And they're like, well, maybe you were dropped as a baby. Well, that's debatable. We can have that discussion. But if I had to ask you, does fire burn? You're going to tell me, absolutely, Willem, it does burn. But then I get you to walk barefoot for about 10 to 12 steps over red hot coals. And it doesn't burn your feet. Your feet looks like this afterwards. To give you an idea, the night that I qualify as an instructor, I have to walk 108 times, 108 consecutively. Yeah, you go to deep places in your mind. But the thing is, once you walk over that, you go, okay, hang on. I believe that fire burns I just did it. It didn't burn me. So what else is not true in my life? And you don't have to answer yes or no in the chat, but I'm sure all of you have had these thoughts or these beliefs. I believe that I'm not good enough, smart enough, strong enough, the right sex, the right gender, the right race, born in the right place. All of these things are limiting beliefs. And that's the only thing that stands between you and the success of your business. Because again, like I said in the first slide, your business is a manifestation of your thinking. Now, one thing you have to understand is entrepreneurship is the biggest lie being sold to people. The support structures were not built with you in mind. It's there to serve the business, not you. Lean startup business model canvas and design thinking have absolutely zero, nada to do with entrepreneurship development or the development of entrepreneurs. Those are merely tools that I, as an entrepreneur, can choose to use or not. They are only tools. They are not the only tools. And no system is going to come and save you. And this picture that I have, I love this picture because that shows up the startup industrial complex for what it is. They focus so much on the business. It's just MVP, pitch deck, blah, 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 blah. And they build this Porsche, and then this Porsche goes nowhere because it's towed by a donkey because they never developed the entrepreneur. You need to develop the engine and the car at the same time. This is the important thing. This is why the startup industrial complex fails, because they focus on building businesses, not entrepreneurs. Because a business means literally nothing. Now, a lot of you might go, like, Willem, I love this thing. This is my baby, my passion. Yeah, business is merely a vehicle to get you from where you are to where you're going. I assume all of you've been in a relationship and, now you go like, oh, I love this one. I'm going to marry this one. Oh, it's the one. And then a year later, hey, where's that person? Like, who? No, I found this one. You have fallen in love probably multiple times. Just get another one, get another business. If this business doesn't work, I mean, how many of you've broken up a personal, intimate relationship in your life is much better today as a result? If you want to type yes or no into the chat, let me know. But how many of you have ever ended a friendship or a relationship or a professional relationship and your life is just so much better as a result of that? And the same is true when you let go of a really crappy business. If it sucks the joy, cash flow, and time out of your life, get rid of it. Get another one. You have a toxic business. Maybe it's not the business for now. So don't hold on to the business too much. It's just a business. There's many others. Now, the biggest mistake you can make as an entrepreneur when you start a business is to build a business. Never build a business. This is the biggest mistake. Because one thing that I've learned about entrepreneurs and being an entrepreneur for a very long time, and that's why I have coaches and I work with a coach, and that's why I coach and mentor people and service their coach. Most people don't like sales. They love marketing. I will post and talk about everything, but sales is a difficult thing. They don't like asking for money. But good crikey, are entrepreneurs spectacular at selling a bad idea to themselves. My word, they can sell the worst idea to themselves and tell them, oh, this is going to work. No, it's not. No, Bob, it's not going to work. And that's why you don't do this alone. But let's get back to why you should never build a business. So I have a nice tour bus picture on there. So imagine I'm starting Willem's tours, and I'm going to take people here through South Africa, through the bush, and we have a bus full of tourists, and I go like, look, lion on the right, and we have zebra on the left, and it looks cool and it looks animalistic and everything, and it's nice. But what do most entrepreneurs do? They go and borrow, or that dreaded word, I hate that word, the F word, funding. I need funding. It's not funding, it's a loan. So they go and get a loan and they buy a bus. And now they have sleepless nights, liabilities, and worries because they don't have one single tourist. What you need to do is don't buy the bus. Never build a business, build a customer book. This is the most important thing that you have to focus on. Get enough tourists to fill the bus. When you have that, hire the bus, take them on a tour. If you can consistently fill that bus, consider buying the bus. I mean, I have a new coaching client starting. She just dropped 200,000 pounds, actual pounds, quid, in the South African equivalent to start a private school. And she didn't have one student when she opened the school. Spend 200,000 pounds, but don't have one student. Obviously, now things are getting a little bit hairy, and now they go like, well, how do I solve this? Okay, scary thing. Good. So beliefs about yourself. This comes back to the firewalking thing. Ask yourself, is this true, or is it merely an assessment that I'm holding about myself? You know, you will have fear and self-doubt. If you don't, you're not pushing hard enough. If you're going to have imposter syndrome, that is normal. And feeling unqualified, all of these things are going to be there. Okay? This is normal. And all that you have to do is push through. I remember I took my friend to a CEO meeting, and we discussed the program that I'm going to do for them. And we walked out to the meeting, and he looked at me, and he's a very level-headed person. And he looked at me and, how in the holy F are you going to pull this off? And I said, I have no idea. But I have cash flow in the bank, so I'll throw money at the problem and I solve it. And I solved it. The thing is that's where you are as an entrepreneur. You always have to push your own boundaries, And another thing that people have, and I found that with people who have businesses, believing I am not an entrepreneur. And you're like, okay, cool. So you have your own business. You're building a business. When will you be an entrepreneur? Oh, when I reach this or that. I said, but you are one already. So if you think there's certain qualifying criteria for you to be in this club, already that is a limiting belief. The fact that you can just have a product or a service and go to somebody and go like, I think you need this. Let's have a chat, and you sell it to them. Good, you just started the business. Best thing you can ever do. Now let's talk about something very important. Money. Who likes money? Just say yes or no in the chat. Who loves money? Who would like to have a lot of cash? I'm a big fan of it. I keep it close to me if I can. Hell yeah, David. You're my disciple. Me. Go, Joel. Most people have an absolute fear of money. So be ready in the chat. Try to finish the following sentence for me. Rich people are. How would you finish that sentence? Pop it in the chat. Rich people are. Investors. Okay, cool. Money doesn't grow on. Ooh, poop. I love that one. Yes. Okay, cool. All of these things you will see, get agile. You should see some of the stuff that we get. Rich people are crooked. They're stingy. They're this, they're that. If you hold that belief that rich people are that, when you finally have the cash in the bank, your subconscious is going to go, yeah, we should get rid of this stuff. We should not be this, because when you're rich, suddenly your mind tells you, but we are that person now and we can't be that. So look at the the relationship that you have with money. I mean, you're attending this session about entrepreneurship. I'm sure you're reading books about entrepreneurship. David, you just told me about the inner game of tennis and how applicable that is to business. But how many books do you guys read about money? I found most people don't read books about money. Yet we all want it. Yeah. Well, the more money you make, the more people you can help, Jim. That's also nice, but I'm not a big fan of that. Okay. I'm not a big fan of, let's help people. Okay. So if you can't swim and you walk next to a river and you see somebody drowning, will you jump in and try to save them? No, because you can't swim. But a lot of people start a business, some impact thing or anything else to help people, but they can't help themselves. If you can't help, a drowning man can't save another drowning man. So when you first help yourself, help others. And more money doesn't fix things in your business. A lot of people think, I'm a big fan of Keith Cunningham. He wrote the book, The Road Less Stupid. Do give it a read. Very interesting book, The Road Less Stupid. And he says in one video that I watched about it, he said, every CEO whose company is in trouble comes to him and says, you know what, we need to increase sales. And he says, why do you want to grow a cancer? He says, your business is not making profit because something's not working and now you want to enlarge it. So that's very important, yes. Yeah, can't swim, how people build websites nowadays. So look at your relationship with money. Are you studying money? What's your relationship with it? Go and look back at your familial history with money as well. But one thing that I found, most people have a massive fear of success. Then nobody's coming to save you. Okay, system, like I said, is not designed for you. It's there for the business. But one thing that I want you to take away as a business owner, as a prospective business owner, not everything is your fault. Not everything is your fault or your mistake in the business, in the market, or anything else. But 100% of everything is your responsibility. Not everything is your fault, but everything, 100%, is your responsibility. If somebody stuffs something up, it's not your fault. It's your responsibility. Okay? And that's where a lot of people step back. And there's I can't remember who had this description or definition of a good versus bad leader, but it's very great. The difference between a good and a bad leader, when something goes wrong, is they look out the window to look for somebody to blame. While a good leader, they go and they stand in front of the mirror and go like, what did you do? How did you create this? I mean, I was coaching a construction entrepreneur yesterday because I have experience from manufacturing to 30 years in online to arts and culture and the creative industry. And they were not addressing and stepping into the responsibility. But I have a contract with the project managers. They should deliver. Yeah, I know what the contract says, but that's your expectation. What's your actual agreement? And they realized they never stepped into that position as a leader where they have to now take 100% responsibility because they didn't do that. Their whole site stood still for 3 days. She lost 3 days of wages, 3 days of work that could have happened because they didn't step in and showed 100% responsibility for everything. Okay, so now you do not have a knowledge problem. Most entrepreneurs do not have a knowledge problem. Your biggest problem that you face is an application problem. You do not need more information. You need to use what you already know. How do you know what you need to learn more if you haven't tested what you know already? I mean, so many people attend these sessions after session. Eventually, you find groupies. And you're like, dude, when are you starting this? When are you making a plan? Just do stuff. And one thing, stop watching motivational videos if you're feeling rubbish for the day. You know, this thing like, oh, you're going to do this. And worst idea. Switch that rubbish off because it makes you feel worse afterwards than it does before. Now I'm going to say something controversial. And David, you don't have to clench that hard. It's not that controversial. But I'm going to say something controversial. And it's even a reflection on my own session, and we're attending this. Stop changing your bloody religion. Stop changing your religion the whole time. What I mean by that is now you watch Diary of a CEO, or you watch the next thing this, and they're like, wow, and this guy does this for his morning procedure. I'm going to start doing that. And then a week later, oh, this guy does this. I'm going to do this. Oh, and this woman applies this in her business. I'm going to do what she does. Yeah, good. And you change the whole time. And that's what I mean by changing your religion. Look at what's working. Do more of that. Look at what's not working. Stop it. Change it. Or do less of it. You know what? But don't just blindly adopt things. Question. You know, that's why the art of argumentation disappeared for a great, because people can't hold an idea in their hand and go like, Willem, I like this idea, but I'm going to give it back to you. I can give you an idea, but it's your choice to make it your own or not. So and I want you to look at that. When you look at a YouTube video, before you click on it, ask yourself, do I want this in my mind? This is such a cliche test, but don't think of a pink elephant. Do not think of a pink elephant. What are you thinking about now? Bloody pink elephant. But before you open a YouTube video, ask yourself, do I want this in my mind? Would this serve me where I'm going? And you will see things start to shift a little bit. You know, that binge watching of just useless stuff. Now you go, maybe I should not put that in, and always think of a pink elephant. So whenever you look at a YouTube video that you want to watch, do the pink elephant test. Do I want this in my mind? Do I not? Because it's going to have an impact on you. Okay. Now, don't read 52 books. A lot of people in the beginning of the year, read 52 books for the year. Rubbish. Quiet. Silence. I do not want to hear your advice. Not at all. Okay? Because learning, there's a good reason for that. Learning becomes a way to delay the discomfort of action. You know, one thing, having coached and mentored and developed entrepreneurs now for, 12 years now? I've been in the development industry developing entrepreneurs. Is we will spend a whole week on busyness instead of doing business. Yeah, I'm just fixing my website. No, I'm just my brochure. No, I'm just doing this. I'm just tweaking that, going everything else. You know, just take action. Go and talk to people. Go and talk to people. You know, that's what you need to do, because action is not comfortable. And learning has become this thing that, you know, you can learn yourself out of. No, you have to do yourself out of this. And the learning comes with the doing. I had a guy in my class where I helped them start businesses. He says, no, he took an admin job at a company for 2 years because he heard administration is important in a business. So he wanted to master that. And you're like, wow, what a great, spectacular waste of 24 months of your life. Okay? Because here's the thing is, you need to curate your learning. If you read 52 books a year, and each book contains 10 ideas, that means you're going to have 520 ideas of what you can do as a business person, as an entrepreneur. Now, if you are a spectacular entrepreneur, I bet you can maybe implement 15 of those, if you're lucky. So most of those things are just going to be a waste of your time. Okay? So quick question, ladies and gents. How do you learn to play the piano? How do you learn to play the piano? What's the best way to start learning playing piano? You just sit down and you play the thing. Okay? You play it. But again, now this is in reference to the startup industrial complex. They teach you musical theory, piano design, stage setup, etc., etc. You never touch the bloody piano. They're so focused on the theory. So you start playing, and when you suck, you go, okay, what do I need to learn now? What do I need to learn now? Buy a piano is a good thing if you got a lot of cash flow. But that's the thing. Start playing, see what's missing, learn that, do that. So getting back to the 52 books, if I can give you damn good advice, ask yourself, whom do I need to become over the next 12 months to have the business that I want? And find 5 books that can help you make that internal shift. And read each of those books 5 times. That will be the best thing you can do, because now you start learning about implementation. Because now you have a handful of ideas out of a handful of curated books that you curated to develop you, and you start living it over a 12-month period. That's important, because now you start mastering the skills and you start changing as a person. One thing I always tell people before we start coaching or before we do some of my training programs, I go, you're going to lose friends and possibly family. And a lot of people are like, what do you mean? I don't want to do that. And you're like, no, it's not that your friends are going to be bad or anything. It's just going to outgrow them. They're in a different trajectory than you are. And that's okay. I think it was Jim Rohn who said you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with. Somebody commented the other day, you're the average of the 5 AIs you use the most. And we need to unpack that one. But that's an important one, is focus on learning curated things that can move you forward. Don't just learn for learning's sake. It's the biggest waste of time. And if you read a book and you're halfway and you go like, oh, this is just not working for me, close it, put it down, get another book. Don't feel guilty. Guilt's for other people. Okay. I don't know who's familiar with Ripley and the Xenomorph, but a big fan. That's not how they really are in the movie. They hunt and chase and try to kill each other. But personal growth and business growth are not 2 separate things. They are the same thing. When you grow as a person, that's when your business starts growing. When you stay stuck as a person, that's when your business stays stuck with you. Regardless of how much support, funding, or opportunity comes your way. I mean, I've had people that I coach, and then I remember this one person when I started coaching them. 2 weeks into our coaching, they took their first day off in 12 years, outside of a school holiday in December. Their first day off. They took their wife for breakfast. Now, I can imagine his wife must have met him with suspicion. They're like, why are we meeting in the middle of the week? Is there something you want to tell me? Needless to say, he's become a professional holidayer now. And the point is, what happened with him is we would change things in his business, and then he would fall back in it because he didn't internalize and make the hard shifts. And then he falls back, and then we go back again. And it's they determine the business. And when they stepped back, the B team resigned and the A team stepped up. Because it's almost like a seesaw. When I move, you move. When you move in the business moves. So that's a very important one. So the size of your thinking actually determines the size of your business. And so in South Africa, the South Africans will know what a magwenya is. It's a fat cake. We take bread dough and we deep fry it. It's the most delicious bloody thing on earth. It's unhealthy. Don't have more than 5 on it at a time. But this person goes, I want to make $100,000. I said, well, you make $1 per magwenya. Now she wants to make 100,000. Now you say, well, you have to sell 100,000 magwenya. And you can see they're trying to fit 100,000 of these fat cakes into their head. Because when you're at that level, that is the size of your thinking of value creation. So when you have a £300,000 a year business, that is the size of your thinking of value creation. Now you need to find a way to create that same value consistently the next year, but grow it. Like my one mentor said to me, when his business hit 10 million, he had to change his thinking. At 25 million, change his thinking. At 50, again. 75, again. 100, 150, 200. Eventually, they peaked at 400 million. But your thinking about consistent value creation changes the whole time. So it's not the market, it's not your competition, it's not the economy, it's your thinking. There's a lot of people making a lot of money in this economy. If you're not one of them, it's your thinking and you're not seeing something. Okay? This might feel challenging. The only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is something you have the power to change. And that is you. This is so important. You have to work on yourself on a daily basis. If you don't consistently, actively work on yourself and just focus on the business is not going to go anywhere. That's why a lot of people that I coach are new in business, and very soon they run out of answers and they start plateauing and they start working harder and the results go down. The husband or wife move into the spare bedroom. They work so much when they get back at home, the dog barks at them because it doesn't recognize them anymore. And that's the thing, is they run out of thinking. What carried them there won't take them there. And that's the important thing. That's why even me, as Startup Coach of the Year for 2025, I have coaches. And they check my thinking. And it's important. So, because this journey is lonely. I think anybody can comment in a chat who has had a business for a while. It's a lonely journey. You can have a staff of 100. You will be as lonely as hell. And you always need somebody to bounce ideas off. So let's do Q&A. There we have everything there. If I'd love if you can give me some feedback about the session, just scan that QR code or just click the link. If you're interested in working with me, just follow the link and scan the QR code and we can have a conversation. And we can look at how I can coach and help you grow your business, because that's the voodoo that I do. Good.
Amazing.
That's me, ladies and gents.
Amazing. Ta-da! Mate, that was so good. And we really got to her. in the comments saying that there's a lot of hard truth there, which are awesome. What I would love from you watching along, really conscious, Willem's given up his time. So give me a little thank you in the chat. I could see some emojis popping up. We love the emojis. That's always good. But I do also like the written word, or stick me a little emoji in the chats as well. It's nice to see some real human being names in the chat. So Sebastian's jumped in. Thanks. Jim, thanks you.
Taha.
Robert, thank you. Federico, Paul, Kieran, thanks, Willem. Anastasia, it was great. Thank you. Nathan, Lee, Kate. The list goes on. Lemis Kid, thank you. Loads of wisdom. So I'm going to jump back to those. The Q&A is open. There is one question in the Q&A. Feel free, everybody, to stick some more questions in. I've got a couple myself. What I might do, hopefully everyone's grabbed that QR code or scan the QR code. You've got 10 seconds to scan that QR code. The link is there for the survey. So please do that for Willem. What I might do is get you to stop sharing, if that's right. And then they can see our lovely faces. Yeah, lovely faces.
Lovely.
Mate, there's a lot to unpack. I must admit, I've been running my business for a long time. I'm always conscious I've got lots to learn. So there was definitely a couple of bits that I took from that. Absolutely. Always very topical to get a few reminders as well. My first question for you is you've talked a lot about making decisions when uncertainty is gone. And that's very common, whether you're starting in the journey or you're in the journey a long time, there's often a lot of uncertainty. So I'll be keen to get your take from all the founders that you work with. Do you see common patterns? What are the biggest mistakes you see from founders when there is a lot of uncertainty?
Oh, that's a very good question. I love that, David. Yes, they freeze. Most of them sit and they wait it out. I'm waiting for more information. I'm waiting for something to change. I'm waiting for something to fall in. I'm waiting for this. And it creates hope. Now, I always tell people, hope belongs in church, not in business. Imagine a CEO going in front of the board, I hope to achieve 15% growth. They're going to go like, what? You're doing what? It's not going to cut the cheese. So most of them stall and freeze until life makes a decision for them. And that's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
So one thing is there's nothing that blocks you. There's only a fork in the road. So just like a GPS, sorry for the balloons, it's the just like a GPS, do you left or right? And when you get there, make a decision. So like I always tell my 16-year-old son, make a decision, take an action. Make a decision, take an action. Yeah. And it's not about making the right decision, the right action. The smallest decision with the smallest action to move yourself forward.
Yeah. Mate, one of the things I wrote down actually is a reminder for me on a post there. Who writes stuff down nowadays? But yeah, I still do. Was you talked about the discomfort of action. And that's a nice little, that was a reminder for me, because you've got to sit with discomfort when you're doing this stuff, but it's the bias to action is the point that you're making here. Like, do something, analyze it, think about it, but make a choice, mate. I love that. The other one that I wrote down straight away as soon as you started talking about it was buying the bus. I've seen this with people as well. Where does that come from? Is that like human nature? Is this what we do? Where does that impulse to buy the bus come from?
Thank you so much. I'm glad you're touching on that. I blame the startup industrial complex for that. If you look at everything, what's your pitch deck? What's your MVP? What's this? Because what it teaches, now, don't get me wrong, I learned the business model canvas from Osterwalder himself. I flew to attend training by Ash Muria from Running Lean. I know these things. I do design sprints for companies, okay? But it teaches, and it's the best thing to push the edges of innovation. But it's not the best way to start a business necessarily, because it's slow, it's expensive, and needs funding structures, and it teaches people you just need an idea and you need funding. And it's all of these beliefs that I have to build a business, because the whole focus is around the business, not the person. And that's why we have that. I mean, from the first session we had, somebody reached out for coaching for me, and they were about to drop £12,000 boop on an idea that was absolutely guaranteed to fail. So luckily, they started doing coaching with me, and we steered them away from that £12,000
Wow.
loss that they were about to make, because it's so inculcated in all the books that you need funding and cash. And I go, like, no, you don't. You need customers.
Yeah. I love a bit of sales, but I get your point.
Sales is a life skill. You have kids, boys, girls?
Yeah. Girl.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, you have to sell the whole time to your kids. Well, you shouldn't go to that restaurant, when they're 5 for the 500th time.
Yeah.
Or your kid goes out in an outfit, you go like, no. And you have to sell them on something else. And I mean, you're selling yourself on why you can't do it. You're selling to yourself why you're not good enough. You're selling to yourself why you shouldn't take action. So rather should go and sell something to somebody instead of selling the rubbish to yourself.
Lovely. There is a couple of questions in the Q&A, so I will jump to those now, and then I've got a couple more highlighted for myself afterwards. First question from Jim. Again, mate, I loved your take. You see it every year, don't you? I'm going to read 52 books or even 12 books or whatever. So first of all, you talking about taking ownership of like what you're ingesting makes a lot of sense. Almost map out a syllabus. Jim's asking for a recommendation. You mentioned not to read too many books. What books would you recommend for a budding entrepreneur? Are there any that spring to mind? I feel like Willem's just gone to get one. At least I hope that's what he's done. If not, he's left me high and dry. There we go. What have we got?
The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clayson.
Okay. Straight in.
There's millions, and it's a little one. You can read this every day. It's the financial advice your parents never gave you.
Amazing.
Every high net worth individual I know has recommended this book. This guy does not make money. He's a journalist on it. So that, and Keith Cunningham's The Road Less Stupid, because what he does, he proposes the concept of thinking time, where you spend a certain amount of time to think about, you take a few questions into it. And that's a great thing. And it's because you've been in your business a long time, but if you're really honest with yourself, David, are you being strategic or reactionary in most instances?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah,
100%. I know it. Yeah.
I mean, we're juggling jelly on a daily basis. And if it doesn't feel like you're juggling jelly, you're obviously missing something.
Yeah, I've been juggling just this morning, Willem, but I've got a few more days of juggling, but then blocking some time. I like that for sure. Okay, and cool. a couple of real concrete recommendations there. And I'm one of these people, again, you must come across them all the time, but I buy the books and then never read them. That's probably even worse than reading too many. Like they just pile up. So the psychology of money is on my desk. So we've got to make that happen. Okay, thank you very much for the question, Jim. That was a great question. There was a couple of clear takeaways there. Taha mentioned actually in the chat beforehand, investing in startups. So we've taken a slight twist, but it'll be good to get your take on it. I think essentially, as an investor, what are the few things that I need to know that this CEO or entrepreneur is going to succeed? So I guess we talk about entrepreneur traits. What are the signs when you first talk to someone where you're like, okay, I can see something here.
Okay.
Are there qualities?
First test, if they smoke their socks. And is the founder or are the founders coachable? If they're not coachable, don't work with them. I have sat with many and then I go like, what will make this business fail? Nothing. And as soon as somebody says nothing, immediately I tune out. I go, yeah, you're as blind as a bat. you have no idea what's going on. So are they coachable? Do they ask more questions than they speak? I coached two drone pilots, and they had a startup, and they won a prize through Virgin, and they got to fly to the UK and spend time with other drone companies there. But on the flight there, what's his name? Who owns Virgin? What's his name again?
Mr. Branson.
Richard Branson.
Richard,
yeah, he was on the flight, and they got 40 minutes with him. And I said, what did you ask him? He said, no, we couldn't get a question in. He kept asking questions because he wanted to learn. He wanted to know. He asked about them. He's a billionaire sitting with two guys who barely stitch lunch together with their business, and he has more questions for them than sitting back. So are they coachable? Will they listen? And if they're not, run, Forrest, run. And if you're going to invest, ask them, do they have a coach? If they don't, question that. And if they don't, ask them, are you willing to entertain one? And if they go, shot, I would love that. That would be a great idea.
Yeah. Amazing. Great answers. Great answers. A couple more have come in. Again, I'm going to keep firing them at you, Willem. If it's better to take any of this offline or think about it, whatever, just go for it. But question
connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's chat if you have more questions.
That's open invite. Make it happen. Question from Joel. Joel's questions are around burnout. And I guess as you're coaching people, you may have seen people that have experienced burnout, close to burnout, all that type of stuff. So the question from Joel is, what are your thoughts on burnout in terms of the context of foundership? Very, very broad. But what are your thoughts in terms of burnout with the people you're coaching?
Okay, cool. So I burn out often as well. So I used to work 7 days a week. And then about 8 months ago, I stopped, and I only do 6. So I take Friday nights and Saturdays off, and I literally do nothing. I don't answer emails or anything. I just chill. That's when I watch the rubbish on YouTube. Burnout. Have friends. So most men don't have other male friends, especially if they're married. And that's a dangerous thing. And have friends. My friend Graham is a somatic coach and multiple things, but he also ran the bond and derivatives markets on the JSE. We walk twice a week, 2 to 3 hours together, and then we have breakfast and we just talk. And my buddy Andy, we see each other at least 2-3 times a week. And I spend time just talking to them. If I'm depressed, I go like, dude, I am in the doldrums today. And the best thing when it comes to burnout and stress, do not fight the emotions, do not fight the feelings. Lean into it. If you're sad, feel sad. If you're angry, feel angry. But what you resist will persist. The more you push it down, the longer it's going to stay. So if you're sad, lonely, and about to give up, lean into that. Like I think it's Churchill who said, if you're going through hell, keep going.
I love that. And there's something about walking as well. I love the point, talking to people, talking with friends and stuff like that. But actually, sometimes when you're stood side by side with someone walking, it's easy to have a conversation because you're not looking directly at them sometimes. So,
especially men. Men are adversarial. You will never see us have a meeting like this. Sit side by side. And that's the communication, yes. Walk a lot.
So much good advice coming in. So we've got 2 more. We've got 5 minutes and 2 questions. So I feel like we're in a good place with this. The question at the top there is asking about, would you say a good way for thinking entrepreneurially would be to embody the person you want to become instead of having the mindset of working towards it? So you're almost living that life already. So what's your thought process in terms of that approach?
Yeah, because you have to step into that person that you need to become. I mean, I'm an introvert. It's my favorite thing. If you really want to be romantic, it's just leave me alone for the weekend. But I speak on stages. I'm tired afterwards. I sleep a lot afterwards. And that's the thing, is to step into that and hold it. Because it's not that you're missing something. If you're familiar with John DeMartini's work, everything in you is in me and everything in me is in you. And there's a great book, the alter ego effect. And sometimes so I have a little bracelet that I do. So what's the first thing that Bond does when he falls off a building or punches a guy? He adjusts his cuffs.
Yeah.
So as soon as I get on stage, I adjust my cuffs and I step into my James Bond. It's not that I don't have that. I'm just living it through that character.
Yeah, amazing.
But yeah, it's step into that person that you need to become. And that's very difficult.
Yeah, another amazing question and great answer. So thank you. And then we have one last question from Robert. We've got 3 minutes. This is probably longer than a 3-minute question, but we're going to see how we get on. But the question from Robert is, what is Willem's advice for learning sales? What baseline should someone look to build before they start biasing towards action and selling the product they have? So when it comes to selling a product, how do you approach it? What's your advice?
So this is my latest book, written based on work that I've done with thousands of entrepreneurs. I had a meeting with the head of CSI for one of the biggest banks in South Africa, and I said, you have 5 youth programs. You're going to buy at least 10,000 copies of this book, and you're going to do this, and we're going to impact people. We're going to have master classes. You go like, I love this. I'm like, dude, I love it. That's why I'm selling it to you. Can I get a copy of the book? I said, it's in final edit. As soon as I have it, what's the title? And I suck something up. I haven't written a word, not a single one. Eventually, somebody bought $35,000 worth of it. And I went like, shit, I need to write this book now. And it got delivered a day before they needed it. So it's about having a conversation. The best way to have sales. How did you meet your husband or wife or boyfriend, girlfriend? Was it through a social media post, a flyer, an ad, or a conversation? Talk to strangers. Just talk to strangers. Go like, hey, how you doing? And that's a very important thing. Talk to people. That's how you get into sales.
Amazing. Mate, I'm watching this back. There's a little heart emoji popping up there. We'll have a few more hearts before we draw it.
I love you.
Draw it to a close. There, claps, hearts. They're all coming. Look at that, mate. Very, very timely for me as well. Really appreciate you giving up your time. Please, everyone, connect with Willem. He's just stuck his LinkedIn in there. Hopefully, you saw his website, scan the QR code, all that sort of stuff. But massive thank you from the community, from myself. How do you find that one? I always feel like you're having fun. Are you having fun? Was that fun?
I love this. I love teaching. I can do this the whole day. I mean, I had bronchitis 2 Saturdays ago, and 3 days after that, I had a keynote and then a half-day training the next day. So you just,
my God,
I'm a trooper.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
I'm bulletproof. Mate, I was born in the 80s.
Yes. Yeah, it's a thing,
grew
isn't
up
it?
In the 80s. Yeah.
Mate, yeah. Good man. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks,
as mentioned, if you're in the UK, do check out the event on the 16th of June. But yeah, great to have you with us, and we'll see you all again very soon. Thanks very much.
Live long and prosper, everybody.
Bye-bye.